Right. Gather round because we got some proper political drama brewing in Westminster, and it's juicier than a Sunday roast argument at your nan's house. Sadiq Khan, London's mayor and master of diplomatic shade-throwing, has just lobbed what can only be described as a political grenade straight at Rachel Reeves Chancellor desk. And let me tell you, the explosion is still echoing through the corridors of power like a delayed tube announcement that nobody wanted to hear. Picture this. You're expecting your best mate to have your back in a fight, right? Well, imagine that mate is now Chancellor of the Exchequer. You're the Mayor of London. You're both Labour. And instead of backup, they just told you to jog on while handing out goodies to everyone else at the party. That's essentially what's happening here, and Khan is not having it. The plot thickens faster than custard on a cold day when we dive into what Khan actually said about Reeves' spending review. He didn't just criticize it. Oh no, that would be far too pedestrian for our Sadiq. Instead, he served up a three-course meal of political commentary, describing the review as having some good, some bad, and some ugly. It's like a spaghetti western. But instead of Clint Eastwood, we've got a London mayor with a serious bone to pick about transport funding. Now, before we get carried away thinking this is just another politician having a moan, let's break down what Khan is actually fuming about. The colossal mistake he's referring to isn't just hurt feelings or wounded pride. It's about cold, hard cash and infrastructure that affects millions of Londoners every single day. Here's where it gets spicy, and I mean ghost pepper in your curry spicy. Khan had been banking on Labour solidarity. You know that feeling when you lend your mate 20 quid thinking they'll definitely pay you back because you're mates, right? Well, Khan essentially lent his political capital to Labour, expecting that a Labour government working with a Labour mayor would be a match made in political heaven. Instead, he's gotten what feels like a political divorce settlement where he keeps the debt but loses the house. The Treasury, bless their spreadsheet-loving hearts, tried to soften the blow by announcing £2.2 billion for Transport for London's Capital Renewals programme between 2026 and 2030. Now, £2.2 billion sounds like a lot, and it is, but here's the kicker. Not a single penny of that is earmarked for the new infrastructure projects Khan has been championing like a one-man campaign army. Let's talk about these projects because they are not just Khan's pet schemes. They're potential game changers for London's transport network. First up, the DLR extension to Thamesmead. If you've never been to Thamesmead, imagine a place so poorly connected to the rest of London that getting there feels like embarking on a quest to find the lost city of Atlantis, except Atlantis has better transport links. This extension would connect thousands of residents to the wider transport network and unlock massive housing potential. But apparently, that's not worth government investment right now. Then there's the Bakerloo Line extension to Lewisham. The Bakerloo Line, for those unfamiliar, is one of London's older underground lines, and extending it would be like finally getting around to finishing that DIY project you started 3 years ago, desperately needed and long overdue. This extension would serve areas of South London that are currently transport deserts, places where your only options are buses that arrive when they feel like it or expensive private transport. And finally, the West London orbital between Hendon and Hounslow. This isn't just about making it easier to get from A to B. It's about creating a transport network that doesn't force everyone to travel through central London like spokes on a wheel. It's revolutionary thinking in a city that's still operating on transport logic from the Victorian era. But here's where Khan's frustration becomes crystal clear, and why his language has gotten so sharp it could cut glass. The Chancellor hasn't just said, maybe later, to these projects. She's actively framed the spending decisions as a choice between London and the rest of the country. It's like being told you can't have cake because your siblings need to eat too. Except in this case, the cake is essential infrastructure and your siblings are getting their own massive slices anyway. Khan's response to this political chess move was swift and brutal. I think she has made a colossal mistake in pitting London against the rest of the country. This isn't just criticism, it's a fundamental challenge to the government's approach to regional investment. Khan is essentially saying that Reeves has created a false dichotomy, turning what should be a national infrastructure strategy into a zero-sum game where London's success somehow comes at the expense of everywhere else. The irony here is thicker than London fog on a December morning. London generates roughly a quarter of the UK's entire economic output. It's the golden goose that keeps laying eggs, and yet the government seems surprised when the mayor of this economic powerhouse suggests that maybe, just maybe, investing in infrastructure might benefit everyone. It's like having a cash cow and then complaining when you need to feed it properly to keep the milk flowing. What makes this even more delicious from a political drama perspective is the timing. This criticism comes just months into Labour's time in government, when you'd expect party unity to be stronger than a builder's tea. Instead, we're watching what amounts to a public falling out between two of Labour's most prominent figures, played out through carefully worded BBC interviews and Treasury spokesperson responses. The Treasury's response has been about as enthusiastic as a wet weekend in Blackpool. They've essentially said, "We recognize the potential benefits and we're committed to exploring options," which in political speak translates roughly to "We've heard you, we understand why you're upset, and we'll think about it." It's the governmental equivalent of telling your partner you'll consider their suggestion while secretly hoping they'll forget about it entirely. Meanwhile, Khan isn't backing down. He's made it clear that he'll continue lobbying for these projects, but has also made sure everyone knows he thinks the Chancellor has fundamentally misunderstood how the UK economy actually works. When he says our country succeeds when London does, he's not being arrogant. He's stating an economic reality that successive governments have relied on for decades. The police funding situation adds another layer to this political lasagna of complexity. While Khan praised a record settlement from the Home Office, he's also warning that London might still see fewer police officers on the streets. It's like being given a pay rise that doesn't quite cover the increased cost of living. Technically good news, but practically not enough to solve the underlying problems. This warning about police numbers reveals a deeper issue Khan is grappling with. 14 years of what he calls austerity have left such deep cuts that even record funding might not be enough to restore services to where they need to be. It's like trying to fill a swimming pool with a garden hose when there are multiple holes in the bottom. You're making progress, but not nearly fast enough. The political implications of this public spat extend far beyond transport timetables and police patrol rosters. Khan is essentially challenging the new Labour government's entire approach to regional development and investment. He's arguing that the zero-sum mentality, the idea that investing in London means less everywhere else, is not just wrong but actively harmful to the country's economic prospects. From a strategic standpoint, Khan's timing is interesting. He's chosen to make these criticisms public rather than keeping them within party channels, which suggests either that private lobbying hasn't worked or that he believes public pressure is his best remaining tool. Either way, it's a risky move that could either force the government to reconsider its approach or further strain his relationship with key Treasury figures. The broader context here is crucial. We're looking at a government that came to power promising change and investment, particularly in infrastructure and public services that had been neglected under Conservative rule. Khan's criticism suggests that from his perspective, the change isn't happening fast enough or in the right places. It's like ordering a full English breakfast and getting beans on toast. Technically food, but not quite what was promised. What makes it particularly fascinating is how it reflects the ongoing tension between London and the rest of the UK. This isn't new. It's been simmering for decades. But Khan is arguing that Reeves has made it worse by actively promoting a narrative that positions London's interests against everyone else's. It's political division when what's needed is strategic thinking about how different parts of the country can contribute to overall prosperity. The transport projects Khan is fighting for aren't just nice-to-haves. They're essential infrastructure for a city that's expected to grow by over 1 million people in the next 2 decades. Without investment in transport capacity, London faces the prospect of even worse congestion, higher housing costs, and reduced economic productivity. It's like trying to run a marathon while wearing shoes 2 sizes too small, technically possible, but unnecessarily painful and ultimately counterproductive. So where does this leave us? We've got a London mayor who's essentially issued a public ultimatum to his own party's Chancellor, warning that her approach is not just wrong but catastrophically misguided. We've got a Treasury that's clearly trying to balance competing regional demands while managing tight fiscal constraints. And we've got millions of Londoners caught in the middle, wondering whether their daily commute will ever get any easier or if their neighborhood will get the investment they need. The next few months will be crucial in determining whether this is just political theatre or the beginning of a more fundamental rift within Labour's approach to regional development. Khan has thrown down the gauntlet, and now it's up to Reeves and the Treasury to decide how to respond. Will they double down on their current approach, or will they find a way to address Khan's concerns while maintaining their broader political strategy? One thing's for certain, this isn't going away anytime soon. Khan has made it clear he'll continue fighting for these projects, and with London's economic importance to the UK, he's got significant leverage. The question is whether he'll use that leverage to force a change in government policy, or whether this will become a prolonged battle that ultimately weakens both sides. The stakes couldn't be higher. We're talking about the future of London's transport network, the effectiveness of Labour's regional investment strategy, and the broader question of how the UK balances the needs of its capital city with those of other regions. Khan's final warning might sound dramatic, but given London's economic significance in his own political capital, it's a warning that Reeves and the Treasury will be wise to take seriously. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where we dive deeper into the political chaos that never seems to end. Don't forget to subscribe to UK Pancakes for more political drama that's somehow more entertaining than anything on Netflix.